Good evening. This is Enid Lapellis. Today is January 25th, 2021, and the time is 8 p.m. Please join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please allow me to confirm the presence of those town council members and any other staff or anticipated participants are present. So Dee
Dee Martin here.
Jen Aguilar,
Jen Aguilar here.
Jason Mauer.
Jason Mauer, present.
Okay. Terry Rooney.
Here.
Jonathan Formicella.
Jonathan Formicella here.
Tony Scott.
Tony Scott here.
Sean O'Rourke.
Sean O'Rourke here.
Kevin Reed.
Kevin Reed here.
And Enid Lapellis, myself here. So there'll be 9-0 when we do voting. This meeting will be conducted as a hybrid meeting as follows. Town council members, designated staff, invited presenters, and members of the press may attend in person or remotely. Public access to this meeting will be limited to joining this meeting as follows. A, limited number of in-person public participants. Attendees will be permitted based upon the reduced capacity of the meeting room pursuant to the governor's executive orders. Any member of the public wishing to attend in person must email meeting@monroect.org at least 24 hours in advance. You'll be notified as to whether or not space is available. All members of the public may attend remotely, either via computer or via phone at the designated number. Please refer to further information provided at the end of this agenda regarding the remote electronic meeting and the use of GoToMeeting. Okay, going on to the consent calendar. Are there any objections to me passing the consent calendar as presented? So I don't need a vote, I just need to know if anybody objects. Anybody objects? Seeing no one, I will hereby pass the consent calendar as presented. For communications, I hereby ask that communications items A through C be referenced in the minutes of the meeting. We have public participation. Anybody wishing to be part of the public participation? No. We did communications. There are no appointments tonight. Going on to action items. C, Town Council Committee on Legislation and Administrative Matters. Mr. Reed? Mr. Reed, you there?
Trying to come off mute.
Okay, terrific.
Kevin, you're muted again.
Hi.
There you go. Right back.
Jeez, why it's like going back on mute. Man, I don't know. Let me check this out. Okay, all set.
Oh, no.
Okay, thank you. So you're going to report on the legislative and administrative matters.
All right. So we did meet, and we will be we'll be bringing up a few things that are on our agenda. We did discuss some things not on the agenda tonight, but I know First Selectman Kellogg will be bringing the ARX wireless topic to the table next council meeting, but the rest we will be discussing within the agenda.
Okay, thank you. Going on to Ems Building Committee, Mr. Rooney.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair. As I left it with council last time we spoke about EMS, we were in the process of bidding the project for the EMS Building Committee with Burlington Construction, who is our chosen construction manager at risk. Since then, all the paperwork has been completed and done, and the bidding process was approved. And also an ad was taken out in the Connecticut Post this past Friday. So the bidding process is active. The bidding process consists of individual contractors to bid this, and we're promoting local businesses to bid this. We'd like to do this project as much locally as possible. The bids are due by the 16th. What's good about the way that this is being done is we, as a town, will have a cost estimate put forward based on the individual contractor's pricing, rather than a bulk price or a number given by our construction manager at risk. We'll actually have current, real-time estimates. I mean, right now we understand with the pandemic situation, supply chains, and things of that nature, at least those of us who deal with this at all, know that it's challenging. I don't know how much that's going to affect pricing. So in order to get accurate numbers, this was the best way. So that's where we are. We're anticipating a lot of bids, and we'll have a better idea of where we are with a number after the 16th. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. First Selectmen's update, Mr. Kellogg.
Thank you. Hang on one second, Mr. Kellogg, if I may. It's Dee Dee Martin. Madam Chairman, can I ask Mr. Rooney a question?
Sure, of course.
Are you when you say the bids are due by the 15th, are you saying the 15th of February?
Yeah, the 16th of February. My apologies.
Okay, thank you. That's all I wanted.
Yeah, my apologies. Sorry about that.
Okay, everybody else okay? And if you have questions, just shout, shout my name out, because otherwise I'm sitting here remotely. Okay, so first Selectmen's update.
Just add, Dee Dee, just to add in the paper with the bid, it is clearly written February 16th. That was just my mistake in speaking about it.
Okay, so first Selectmen's update, Mr. Kellogg.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Well, as has unfortunately become tradition, I'll start with COVID, which is really the primary update this evening. The case rates, as I reported to the community last week, they're still high, but we did get some news is that the rates came down slightly since last week. We're averaging just over 7 new cases per day. That was up to as high as 9 per day a couple of weeks ago. There is still a concern with the new variant of the UK that's come out. I know that the governor reported 4 more cases identified in Connecticut of that strain. So that does remain a concern, but nothing that has had a current impact in case rates that we are aware of at this point. The biweekly testing at Massac started last week with a new set of vendors. I reported last time, seemed to go very well. These tests from this vendor are self-administered tests, which is great because it's typically a little bit more comfortable for the patient, but it does take a little bit longer because they have to explain to each individual what to do, which is taking a little bit longer. So I heard the wait times were maybe a little bit longer than last time, but nothing that was really extensive. I don't think it was, for those that went, I heard everyone got in and out in a reasonable amount of time. The vaccination efforts, as we all know, are well underway and rolling out throughout the state. As a state, we're doing fairly well on the vaccination efforts, but we all know that we are somewhat limited based upon supply. And also, quite frankly, just there's a lot of complexity in the various ways to register and schedule appointments. And I am acutely aware, working with the team every day, that we are doing everything we can to help our residents navigate through all this, because it is certainly there's a lot out there, and particularly for some individuals who might have grown up before the computer age and who may be less comfortable with the internet and may not even have an email address, it is a little bit challenging. So we're doing everything we can to help those folks out. So as far as, again, the vaccination efforts, we continue with phase 1A. Some individuals are now receiving their second dose under phase 1A. And remember, those are primarily healthcare workers and medical first responders. Phase 1B right now continues to be limited by the state of Connecticut to those 75 and older. Phase 1B is going to focus on older residents because they represent statewide about 18% of the population, but over 88% of the deaths from COVID. And those figures, I believe, are for 65 and older, just to be clear. So the schedule is that, as you know, we are continuing to schedule age 75 and over now. 65 and older will open up, we're being told, likely by early February. We're hoping to have some more information this week as far as when that exact timeline will be. But that will be the next group, 65 and older. And then after that, late February or early March, we are told to anticipate that we will be able to schedule frontline essential workers and all individuals with specific underlying medical conditions that have increased risk. And in case you're wondering, no, I do not have the list of those specific medical conditions. There are some that are kind of out there for consideration, but until the final list is vetted and approved by the governor, we will not have that. Same thing kind of goes for the frontline essential workers. We kind of know categorically a lot of the groups that will be included. We know that teachers will be included. We know that we believe that things like grocery workers and restaurant owners will be included. I am certainly hopeful that our municipal employees will be included because I know there's, obviously we have a lot of frontline, public-facing people in our staff. But it's all kind of still to be determined or to be announced, I should say, once the state rolls that out. So as far as the clinics that we are running, we have started and we're continuing to run the vaccine clinics in Monroe for seniors over 75. Again, we do receive a limited amount of vaccine. And so it will continue to be the case where residents will be able to find appointments at a variety of other providers in our area. And in some cases, they may be able to get an appointment sooner than our clinics here in Monroe. We ran the first one at the senior center last week. We're running more this week with another 200 doses that were received this week. So we're very actively working to, we're pushing out everything we get, but again, we get a limited amount. So the other options that are available are kind of out there on our website. There's a state website that was announced today through 211 that has actually a map showing all the different clinics that are out there. And this is expanding to, more hospitals and healthcare systems are opening up larger clinic sites where they can do, significantly more volume just because of the resources they have. In some cases, 1,000 a day. So we will be assisting them, assisting our residents to give them that information as well. But we know in many cases, those systems are reaching out to their patient populations directly and encouraging them to sign up through any patient portals they may have through things like, Hartford Healthcare, the Yale system. I believe Griffin is doing that as well. So the hospitals in our area are very much engaged. We are also doing outreach, and we have staff and volunteers that are answering phone calls. If you call the health department, if you call the senior center, we will get someone to return their calls to answer questions. I can't give enough credit to the team here who has really stepped up, and they're just doing a tremendous amount of work supported by volunteers to keep these clinics up and running and kind of navigating through a very complex system that we have to get these clinics posted and get appointments filled. The state also has the COVID vaccine appointment assist line, the 877-918-2224 number. I know that that had experienced some challenges with how many staff the state had available, but they continue to add more and more people onto that line, I'm told, and they are scheduling appointments through that as well, particularly for people that have no internet or no email at all. And that is really my COVID update. The only other thing, which goes without saying, is that we are very actively working on the budget process. You know, at the next meeting of council, I will be presenting my budget to the council. So there's a tremendous amount of work being done by finance and all the department heads and myself to prepare that. I know that I will be in conversations with Chairman Lapellis, Chairman Manjos, to start going through proposed dates for meetings of both council and board of finance, because I know that's the next thing you'll have to do at the next meeting is start putting some of those dates down. And I know one of them is a joint meeting, and so I'll work with Enid and Mike Manjos to make sure we have that all available for you at the next meeting, or in terms of tentative dates, so that people are prepared to kind of talk about what works for them on their schedules. And that's all I have for this evening. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yes.
Just a
Mr.
couple of
Miller.
quick questions for the selectmen. Thank you very much for the update. I have a question on each of the two things you brought up. I'll start with the budget. I just ask, and usually the answer is that it won't be, so it becomes a moot point. But if the binders are ready before the meeting, if you could let council know to be able to set up a time to pick them up, so that we might have a chance to review them prior to the meeting. Like I said, I know that's often you guys are crunching numbers right up to the very end, so that's not always there, but I would just ask if they are ready to let us know.
As always, we will absolutely do that. As soon as they're available, we will make you aware. However, I do reserve the right to hand it to you the night of the meeting.
Understandable and acceptable as well.
Thank you.
As for the COVID, with the senior center, are they putting the information about how to sign up, who can sign up, into their newsletter as well?
You know, I'm not sure if it actually made the written newsletter. Part of the challenge here is that the information changes on a daily basis, sometimes even more frequently. So we've been putting a lot of, I mean, obviously, you know, we put a lot of stuff on the website, but I understand that may not be the most convenient way for our senior center members to get information. So I don't know the answer as to what the, you know, I'm not even sure if the latest newsletter went out, but I will check on that tomorrow. We could certainly make sure that we put generic information. I can tell you that we have been doing outreach through our staff at the senior center. So anyone who is eligible now, who we know at the senior center, has been contacted.
That's good.
I know that they've been getting other inquiries from other members as well, and we have wait lists and things like that. So we will absolutely do everything to make sure that our members are aware of where to get information.
Wonderful. And with the Monroe portal for signups, does that only allow you to sign up for Monroe? Or does that portal allow you to sign up for other clinics in the area as well?
So there are a variety of different ways that a vaccination clinic can be established in the VAMS system. So there are certain clinics that we are running that, if you are registered in VAMS and you are able to you're eligible and you're able to make an appointment, you might see the Monroe Clinic pop up as an available spot, just as you might see an appointment show up at another health department anywhere in the state or at a healthcare system. For example, I know a lot of our, a good amount of our first responders saw appointments for the second dose available at Griffin. And for some of them, it was convenient, and they, you know, a lot of them just said, well, I'll do that now, because, as I said, we don't always know what vaccine we're going to get or not get. So some of that has happened, and so we can go to, you know, our people can go to other clinics, other people can come here. There's another kind of way to run a clinic that does allow us to basically make appointments outside of the VAMS system. It is extremely manual at this time, so it is not something that is terribly scalable. but for the 75 plus population that are our residents, we are doing a lot of it in that fashion, so that the bulk of those people are strictly Monroe residents because they're not visible publicly in VAMs. We're running it as there's different terminology. I won't belabor it in terms of what it's called in the system, but so there's a mixture. To answer your question, there's a mixture, and again, as this changes over time, as we are hopefully able to run larger, more regional clinics with regional strike teams, I would imagine there'll be more and more that will be more public facing in the VAM system. But we really wanted to make sure that for at least these initial clinics, we made sure that we reached out and were able to make appointments in Monroe for our Monroe seniors over 75 if they choose to come to Monroe to get their vaccine.
Thank you very much, Mr. Selectman.
You're welcome.
Is that it, Mr. Mauer?
That's all for me. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Right. So there's no unfinished business. Going on to new business, A, acceptance of the following donations that individually exceed $1,500. Mr. O'Rourke?
I move that we accept the following donation, $1,824 from the Friends of the Library for Connecticut Humanities Grant History Program Series.
Jason Mauer, second.
Thank you, Jason. Discussion? Any discussion? Mr. Kellogg?
Yeah, Madam Chair, this is a donation where the funds are coming from the Friends of the Library, which I think you're all aware is a 501c3 that's established to support our Edith Wheeler Memorial Library. They were able, as a 501c3, to apply for this grant for this history program, and as they intended, they received the grant and they are donating the funds to the library, the town library, so that we can put the program on. So we thank them again for their help.
Okay, any more discussion? Otherwise, we'll vote. I'll use the roll call procedure. Dee
Dee Martin, yes.
Jen Aguilar,
Jennifer Aguilar, yes.
Jason Mauer,
Jason Mauer, yes.
Terry Rooney,
Terry Rooney, yes.
John Formicella,
John Formicella, yes.
Tony Scott,
Tony Scott, yes.
Sean O'Rourke,
Sean O'Rourke, yes.
Kevin Reed,
Kevin Reed, yes.
and Enid Lapellis, yes. So this motion passes 9-0. B, Resolution 21-10, to consider and act upon a resolution regarding the proposed discontinuance of the Old Webb Road, also known as Old Station Road. Mr. O'Rourke?
Move to adopt the following resolution. Resolution number 21-10, resolved that in accordance with the General Statute, Connecticut General Statute 13A 49, the town of Monroe hereby discontinues Old Webb Road, aka Old Station House Road, as designated and depicted as Old Webb Road on that certain map entitled Site-Specific Existing Condition Plans Topography Survey of Property located at 1603 and 1615 Monroe Turnpike, parentheses, CDOT, route number 111, close parentheses, Monroe, Connecticut, prepared for Bruce C. Mondo, sheet 3 of 3, scale 1 inch equals 30 feet. Date 11/17/2016 and prepared by Lewis Associates. And be it further resolved that Kenneth M. Kellogg, the first selectman, is authorized to A, provide written notice by certified mail, return receipt requested as such discontinuance of the same persons to whom the notice was sent pursuant to the town council resolution number 20-123, and B, after such written notice is sent, cause to be recorded on the land records of the town a notice of such discontinuance, which notice shall listing of each parcel of the property for which the notice was sent pursuant to the town council resolution number 20-123, the name of the owner of each parcel of property as shown in the last completed grand list of the town, and the current assessor's map, block, and lot number for each such parcel.
Jason Mauer, second.
Okay, discussion, Kellogg?
Yep.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So the council will recall that this process started back in October. We received a request from one of the abutting property owners, Mr. Monroe, that the town formally discontinue any interest that the town may have in this roadway, which, as you know, serves as a access to both Mr. Mondo and property owned by the Wileys. At the time, Attorney Marino provided a detailed letter describing the circumstances surrounding this, which I won't continue. I won't repeat since it is on the record, but if anyone has any questions, we can certainly discuss that. Suffice to say, the council, as you know, determined to proceed. We did the A24 review, which was returned favorably at the last meeting. We discussed this December 14th. The council authorized the kind of final procedural actions that would be required prior to the council making a final determination. I've outlined in my memo and have in your package all the documentation in that regard. We have the report from the Planning and Zoning Department, which identifies the 3 abutting properties, which again are the ones that we've been talking about right along. The assessor's report that shows the addresses on the grand list, and those were the addresses that were utilized to send the notices that are included in, as well as the certificates of mailing, indicating that those notices were sent on December 15th to the 3 abutting property owner addresses. And the sign that was procured pursuant to statute and installed on December 22nd. I believe there's 3 photos in your package that show the sign at the proper location and date stamp. So believe that this matter would be now ripe for council to consider a final action to discontinue the roadway. Attorney Marino was not able to be here this evening. However, I believe Attorney Schellenberg is on the meeting, who works with Mr. Marino and is very much aware of this matter and is, and we've spoke about it, so I know she's familiar with it and would be happy to answer any questions you may have as well. But my understanding is that everything would be in order at this time for the council to make such a determination should it so choose. And with that,
Okay,
I'm happy to answer any questions that may be for me or Attorney Schellenberg.
Anybody?
Madam Chair, it's Kevin. Just want to let you know that we did discuss this one in LNA and was passed 3-0.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion? Questions?
Madam Chair?
Anything? Yep.
Just one item that did come up in LNA, and thank you for joining us, Attorney Schellenberg. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe we've had no further communication from the attorney from the landowners who had originally filed a minor objection to the procedural aspect of things early on, that procedural aspect has gone through, and we've since had no communications from them, and we have notified them of the procedures today.
That's correct. I did reach out to counsel for the property owners, and I did not receive any concerns.
I'm Gail Lieutenant. I'm counsel to the landowners, the Wileys, and with the changes that were made, we're satisfied with the resolution the way it's presented.
Wonderful. Thank you for joining us and for letting us know.
You're very welcome.
Any other questions, discussion? Or else we're going to vote. We'll do the roll call again. Dee Dee Martin,
Dee Martin, yes.
Jen Aguilar,
Jen Aguilar, yes.
Jason Mauer,
Jason Mauer, yes.
Terry Rooney,
Terry Rooney, yes.
John Formicella,
John Formicella, yes.
Tony Scott,
Tony Scott, yes.
Sean O'Rourke,
Sean O'Rourke, yes.
Kevin Reed,
Kevin Reed, yes.
and myself, Ems Building, yes. So this motion passes by a 9-0. On to C, resolution.
Madam Chair, before we move on,
Sure.
just a point of order, there is a physical copy of the certificate of discontinuance that needs to be signed by all members of council. Those present in person today are signing it now, and we will leave it with the selectmen. If all members of council can arrange with the selectmen to find a time to sign it, it does need to be filed on the land records.
Okay, I'll go over tomorrow. I'm sure people will make it. Thank you. Okay, going on to resolution 21-11, to consider and act upon a resolution regarding the 2021 Parks and Recreation fee schedule. Mr. O'Rourke,
I move to adopt the following resolution number 21-11, resolve that the 2021 Parks and Recreation fee schedule as presented and recommended by the Parks and Rec Commission is hereby approved and to be made effective on February 16th, 2021.
do I hear a second?
John LaFormica, second.
Discussion?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So in your packet, you have a document, as I think you've become accustomed to seeing this in the past, so it should look familiar in terms of format. That Parks and Rec Director Ms. Oros has been working on and presented to her commission, which has also acted on as well. Fairly straightforward proposal. You'll see that the vast majority of fees are, well, first of all, I would say that this was prepared with a presumption that hopefully the majority of our fees can return to some normalcy in this season. Obviously, should something change, we'll address that, but that's how this is proposed. So in that regard, the only changes, there's a very slight change to the residential pool charge for coming in after 5 o'clock. It's up by $1. All the other fees, the only changes are for non-residents and business owners. Non-residents, my understanding was that the commission very much wanted to have those reflect 2 times the resident rate. I understand. Similar change with the guest fees, and the commission wanted to do the same thing relative to the picnic fees. Other than that, there's also the addition or the return of the Cedar Grove picnic area. Ms. Oros has proposed that we open that back up for rental, for reservation, which I think is a great idea. I know that ties in with her desire to utilize the pavilion on the lakeside for concession frequently. And then last but not least, I know that there's new fees for tennis and pickleball courts. I want to be clear that those will be remaining free to utilize the proposal because there's been a large request to reserve those. So the proposal to institute a very nominal $2 fee or $4 for non-residents, actually make a reservation and have a paid reservation for that court. But again, when it's open, it still will remain available as long as the space has been reserved. So that's the high level. I know Missy is on the call, so happy to answer any questions or have Missy elaborate further as necessary. Thank you.
Okay, any discussion?
Madam
Question?
Chair?
Yep, yes, Mr. Mauer.
I have a few questions. One is under the daily fees after 5 o'clock, I'm sorry, the daily fees for senior citizens, it's not marked as a change, but it is moved up to $6. Was that a typo? Is that supposed to remain at $5? Or was that a change?
That is definitely a typo, Jason. I'm very sorry about that.
Okay.
Good catch. Good catch. I could fix that.
My next question is there a reason why we need to move for the residents, the pool after 5 up $1 from the 5 to the 6?
We were just kind of in line with some fees around the area. And we had a discussion at our commission meeting. Also, minimum wage is going up, and the fees that we collect for the pool goes to the general fund to help pay the salaries of the seasonal kids.
Okay. And then I assume this similar aspect goes to the tennis courts. But if we did not charge residents to make a reservation and only made the reservation a charge for non-residents, would we be able to have a system in place that would allow for that?
I believe we're not allowed to discriminate between residents and non-residents because federal funds were used for the park. So it would probably have to be an all or nothing type situation. Either we do not do the permit reservation for the tennis courts, or we do it for both residents and non-residents. And this is also, can elaborate a little bit. Pickleball has become a big activity for people to participate, and we only have 2 courts at this time. And there's a constant demand for people to use it, and sometimes some people stay too long. So that's why we were trying to do a permit system so that people would have a designated time to play.
My understanding of the federal fund aspect is that it just has to, for non-residents, it just has to be reasonable and in line with the costs associated therewith for non-residents. I don't know if Ken or Missy, if you can comment further on that, or I know we've talked about this multiple times, and I don't think we've ever actually gotten a true opinion on what is considered reasonable. Could we go and do either of you have any answers on that?
I would have to have I would have to have our town attorney research more specifically as relates to the tennis courts themselves. I know that we did definitively find language relative to the construction of the pool that clearly stated that it had to be open to non-residents and that it had to be no more than 2 times the resident fee. Again, I think there was a presumption that that language that the state included was probably based off of other requirements or laws, but as relates specifically to the tennis courts, we'd have to look into it further. But I believe in a lot of the research that Missy did, it's not uncommon that there was, there were towns, there was a mix out there, but it was not uncommon that towns did have a small fee just to make sure that, if courts are being reserved, that those reservations are being kept, and that we had some way to, to make that a little bit more manageable.
Yeah, I do understand the possibility of not doing a 0 fee to a fee, but I do know also some surrounding towns, it's a lot more than 2 times. For instance, Bridgeport, their parking for their park and access to their park, it's $15 for resident and then $130 for non-residents for the same season pass. That it goes well above that 2-time limit. My research has shown that it's reason that it just has to be within reason. As such, I have a couple of motions to change. The first of which is based off of the typo, that I'd move to change the $6 proposed senior citizen daily fee from $6 to $5 to be in line with the intent of the Parks and Rec Department.
Do I hear a second for that motion?
Second, Jen Aguilar.
Okay, I don't think discussion, Jason, but feel free to need discussion.
That's just one that's, it was a typo, so just fixing that in the proposal so that it matches what the intent was.
Okay, so any other questions to discuss the motion? Otherwise, we can vote on it. So Dee Dee Martin,
Dee Martin, yes.
Jen Aguilar,
Jen Aguilar, yes.
Jason Mauer,
Jason Mauer, yes.
Terry Rooney,
Everybody know.
No, okay. John Formicella.
Jonathan Formicella, yes.
Okay, Tony Scott,
Tony Scott, yes.
Sean O'Rourke,
Yes.
Kevin Reed,
Kevin Reed, yes.
Dean LaPellis, yes. So this motion passes 8-1. Next, Mr. Mauer, another one?
Madam Chair, I move to amend the B2 pool after 5 p.m. for residents from $6 per day per person per day to $5 per person per day, in line with what the costs were last year.
Jen
Okay, do I hear
Aguilar,
a second? Okay, thank you. Discussion?
Yes, Madam Chair, thank you very much. This is simply a matter of residents in the town do pay taxes and do pay a significant rate on their taxes. One of the things that is a benefit for those taxes is our use of the park, is our use of the pool. And I think it falls within line to keep those fees as reasonable as possible, and that the costs for employees to fit well within what we budget for the Parks and Rec Department, and what we can budget for the Parks and Rec Department, and should be reflected in our taxes rather than putting it on the burden on individual taxpayers again.
Okay, any other discussion?
Yes, this is Tony Scott.
Sure.
So the issue with this is going to be the ramification of, I was chairman of Park and Rec for 6-7 years. Everything that we worked off of was the idea of what Ken, the first selectman, said about how we had to be the fees for at least pool related fees, because we accepted state money for that pool to build a pool. They had to be no more than 2 times. Right now, by doing it dropping down to 5, we would be uncompliant. So I don't know if you want to amend your movement so that it lowers then non-resident down to 10.
Madam Chair, while I, as I said, my research shows differently, I will amend my motion to be, I withdraw that motion and move to amend B2 pool after 5 for residents to be $5 per day and for non-residents to be $10 per day.
Okay.
Jen Aguilar, second.
Okay, thank you. Discussion, question?
No further discussion outside what was already discussed from me.
Okay,
Madam Chair, I just to interject, to clarify for Councilmember Mauer, as I said earlier, there is extremely clear language in the grant agreement by which the pool was constructed or reconstructed several years ago that does impose a max of 2 times for non-resident rates for the pool specifically. So I believe if you're going to modify the resident to 5, I would agree that your motion to also lower the non-resident to 10, as per Mr. Scott's suggestion, is. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Selectman.
okay, any other questions or discussions?
Madam Chair, it's Kevin. I just from Missy, maybe if I'm able to address or ask Missy directly. I mean, is this okay with you? I mean, you're the one bringing the proposal, so we're the proposal on the table is to change that.
And this is on, Kevin, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I'm happy to answer a question.
Oh, okay. I'm not sure if you heard that, Missy, but I just, there's a proposal on the table to change your proposal. So are you okay with this change?
Yeah, it will just reverse back to what we charged, well, what we were supposed to charge last year before COVID changed our pool situation.
Okay. And not only in agreement, but this is favorable for you?
The only thing that could change if the minimum wage goes up, it might, I mean, I don't think there should be that much of an issue, but in the past, I've heard in the past when revenue needs to match closely for how we're going to staff the pool. But they're only talking a couple of dollars, so I think we'll make it work, hoping that we have a summer like the 2019 season when we can offer the full memberships again.
Okay.
All right, so Mr. Mauer, can you just rephrase your motion? Have all the discussion.
Madam Chair, we already amended the motion. The motion on the table is for the $5 per day, $10 per day, resident, non-resident for 2B, B2. So the motion on the table is for the exactly double ratio.
Okay, thank you. So let's go through voting for this again. So Dee
Dee Martin, no.
Jen Aguilar,
Jen Aguilar, yes.
Jason,
Jason Mauer, yes.
okay, Terry Rooney,
Terry Rooney, no.
okay, we're up to 2 noes. John Formicella,
John Formicella, no.
okay, Tony Scott,
Tony Scott, yes.
Sean O'Rourke,
Sean O'Rourke, no.
okay, Kevin Reed,
Kevin Reed, no.
okay, and myself, I'll say yes. So I believe we have a 5-4. Still a majority, correct? And either parliamentarians, John Formicella, still
Madam Chair, the motion was rejected.
4 to 5, I believe.
Yeah.
but 4 to 5 is not.
If we want to have a roll call just to make sure, but that was what I heard.
Okay, because I heard -4, like 4 people against, and that would mean 5-4. But let's just do it again. So, Dee
Martin, no.
okay, Jen Aguilar,
Jen Aguilar, yes.
okay, Jason,
Jason Mauer, yes.
okay, Terry Rooney,
Terry Rooney, no.
John Formicella,
John Formicella, no.
okay, Tony Scott,
Tony Scott was yes.
okay, Sean O'Rourke,
Sean O'Rourke, no.
okay, Kevin Reed, Kevin, I believe he voted yes, but I'm putting now because it doesn't.
No, he did not.
No, he did not.
He voted no, but we can wait for Kevin to respond.
There it goes.
Kevin?
Now it's finally coming off of mute. Something wrong with GoToMeeting on my phone, but Kevin Reed, no.
Yes.
Okay, so now it's 4 yes and 5 no, so the motion is rejected, okay?
Yep.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, as I continue, one thing, Mr. Selectman, I would just ask if we can look into, for future reference, the grant that guarantees the double at ratio, if there's any time limit within that grant. I don't need that for today, but just in general, if we can get an answer to that, and if so, what that time limit is.
I reviewed it recently, and there was no time stated in there.
Okay, thank you. And Madam Chair, one more motion. I move to amend the tennis pickleball reservation fees to residents $1, non-residents $4.
Hey, do I hear a second?
Can I ask a question about that? Does
Sure.
do the same have rules apply to that?
We need a second to put the discussion on the table.
Sorry, I'll second it. I'll second it.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Aguilar.
Madam Chair, if I may.
Sure, yes. Right.
Again, this comes down to taxpayers' benefit.
Are you still there, Mr. Mauer? Mr. Mauer, are you still there?
Jason, we can't hear you.
Right now.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. So as I was saying, from the get-go, this comes down to, again, taxpayers already paying for use of the park. And while the use of the porch would be free outside of reservations, and when there are reservations, keeping the burden on residents as low as possible would be helpful. I do agree with the idea that there cannot be a no fee for residents and then a fee for non-residents. However, unlike the pool, this is not restricted to the double through a separate grant, and it just has to be a reasonableness standard, as is with all federal funded parks. As such, I think the 1-4 split is more than reasonable when coming to this and keeping with allowing our residents as much benefit as we can without putting additional burdens on them, considering the taxes in the town. Again, the difference here when you're talking about what in our budget, when you're talking about what this will bring in revenue at $1 per hour and a quarter hour slot only for residents who make a reservation would be extremely minuscule. So I put that on individual residents.
Okay, thank you.
Madam
Any
Chair,
more
may I ask Missy a question?
Yes, you can.
It's Jen Aguilar. Missy, how does all of this affect the budget? Are these way for you to balance your budget? Either one of these?
So the pickleball and tennis court situation, this is to enhance the pickleball and tennis courts as far as we use funds to buy new courts, maintain everything. And our pickleball population is growing, and they are having, the people who use the pickleball, they're having a difficult time sharing the facility. So right now, if you were to just drive up on your own and there's nobody there, you can start to play. And there's no etiquette yet as far as sharing. So we thought about trying this. I talked to some other park and rec directors on how they do permits and stuff. And this only is if you want an exclusive time. You still can come up and play without a reservation. We have a chart ready to go. It's going to be up online. So this is just if you know you want a specific time, and we're hoping that you can reach out and rent the space a week in advance so people will not be hogging it. So this is just something new we came up with, talking with my commission, with just some concerns of people who want to use the pickleball court. We thought this was a fair way to kind of spread out using it. So this is something very new that we were trying just so that people can share better.
Any other questions, Ms. Aguilar?
Yeah, this is
Anything?
Tony
Mr.
Scott. Hey, Missy, this is Tony.
Hi, Tony. How are you?
Good. I'm glad the courts that we redid, while I was on the commission a few years ago, we redid the courts. I'm glad they're getting the use now out of them. That was people say when you build it, they will come. This is an example of that. We fixed those courts up and we were able to take advantage of it. So I'm glad to see that's the case. My question is, how is this going to be moderated with this? Like what are you anticipating going to be any issues if someone says, I have a reservation, you're still on it? How is that going to be settled? Will we have anybody there to kind of help settle that dispute?
So my plan is, if everything goes well through the budget process, you know how we have admission monitors that are at the pool and the Great Hollow Lake area, checking stickers and stuff like that. So many years ago, I think when you were still on the commission before I came here, there was a person that used to sit there with a book and take reservations. So we kind of were thinking, between going online and getting your paper reservation, we will have staff monitor through, double checking that the people who are supposed to have a reservation are there. And we also built in a 15-minute kind of buffer, because sometimes when you have intense games and you have to do the tiebreaker, we won't have people, oh, it's 1:15, you have to go. So we came up with a whole chart, and we'd like to try it. It's something new, because since you've left the commission, we actually painted a second pickleball court, and hopefully, that will also encourage people to learn the game and stuff like that. So by all means, this was just something where we were trying to just help with the people that just don't want to share. And we have a lot of people not from Monroe that also come to the park. So this also was going to help the residents secure a spot when they wanted a particular time to play.
Okay, thank you, Missy.
Did I answer everything?
Yeah, you're good. Thank you.
Okay.
Sean O'Rourke.
Go ahead, Sean.
Reviewing the fee schedule in total, I'm inclined to rely on the resident expert, Missy, with regards to how the schedule was developed and how we were hoping to implement it. So with that being said, I'm opposed to micromanaging your fee schedule.
Okay. Any other discussion? So I think we're ready to a vote on this motion. So Dee Dee?
Madam Chairman, can you repeat the motion, please?
Sure, of course. Jason, I think it's a 1-to-1 for residents and 4 non-residents. But
That's
please
correct.
say-
It's amending from 2 residents, 4 residents, and making it $1 for residents, $4 for non-residents.
Okay, Mrs. Martin?
I would vote yes for this amendment,
Okay.
for this, yes.
Jen Aguilar?
Sorry, Jen Aguilar, yes.
Okay. Jason?
Jason Maurer, yes.
Terry?
Terry Rooney, no.
Okay. John Formicella?
John Formicella, no.
Okay. Tony Scott?
Tony Scott, yes.
Okay. Sean?
Sean O'Rourke, no.
All righty. Kevin? Kevin, you there?
Give him time, he will be.
All right. I'm looking for the days when we get back and can see each other and just sit there.
That day is here.
Are you there now, Kevin? Can you vote, Kevin? I could say I'm voting yes. So far we're 5-3, but I'm waiting for Kevin.
He does appear to be unmuted, so.
Can we just call him or?
I think I'm back. Can you hear me now?
Yep,
Yes.
Yep, there we
Yes.
go.
Perfect. Kevin Reed, no. Good. I'm going to say it as fast as I can. No.
Yeah, quickly.
You're saying no. So this is a 5-4 yes vote. 5 yeses, 4 noes. So this motion passes. Okay, so anything else, Mr. Mauer? Otherwise, I'm going on to the next resolution.
Madam Chair, at this point, that's the end of those motions. So I would just move to pass the fee schedule as modified from the original chart in its whole to be adopted for the 2021 fee schedule for the Parks and Recreation Committee.
Second?
Second.
Okay, so that's resolution C, correct, Mr. Mauer?
That's correct, just as modified based off of those motions.
Okay. Any second? I believe Mrs.
Second?
Martin second.
I
Okay,
did.
thank you, Mrs. Martin.
Sure.
Discussion? Any discussion?
Madam Chair, just to paraphrase what the changes were for the purpose of the clerk, as well as for the selectmen and for our Parks and Rec chair, the B3 senior citizens is changed to $5 per day for residents, as was the intent of the Parks and Rec department, based off of a typo. And then the tennis pickleball is moved to $1 for residents, $4 for non-residents. And outside that, the chart would be approved in its whole as written.
Okay. So I'm going on to C. So you want to motion, Mr. Mauer, again, then we'll do an official second.
Motion's there and accepted on the floor. Unless there's any further discussion, we just need to go to a roll call vote.
Okay. And it was seconded by Mrs. Martin. So
Yes.
going on to the, yeah, so no other discussion. So going on to the voting, Mrs. Martin,
Dee Dee Martin, yes.
Jen Aguilar,
Jen Aguilar, yes.
And Jason Mauer,
Jason Mauer, yes.
Terry Rooney,
Terry Rooney, no.
okay, John Formicella,
John LaFormicelli, yes.
okay, Tony Scott,
Tony Scott, yes.
Sean O'Rourke,
Sean O'Rourke, yes.
Kevin Reed,
Kevin Reed, yes.
and Enid, yes. So this motion passes by an 8-1 vote. Okay, public participation? Don't see anybody. So I am adjourning this meeting at 9:01 p.m.